First, guys, how deflating has it been? It's been brutal for me because all I've been doing, like I said, is tweeting out these cancellations. I'm almost at the point now where I feel like maybe we should just take an overall college basketball pause for the next 7 to 14 days and slow it down so that everybody, or at least more than 50% of every team, can test positive, so you won't have these pauses going forward. Steve, what you were in this last year, deep in it, both of you guys were. Like, what do you think right now? What should be done?
Well, I think first off, last year you were prepared and scheduled for cancellations, with space for opportunities to make up games. I know the testing procedure, the way it worked last year, once you tested positive, you didn't test again, for several months. Now, I'm not in, the thick of it this year, so I don't know all the procedures testing wise, but I know when people tested early, that kind of gave them clear way, for the next couple of weeks or couple months without having to be tested. And that was huge. We had a lot of teams you saw throughout the summer get a lot of outbreaks early in the year. We got our outbreak right in the thick of it, kind of January at Kansas. We tested positive, one of our kids, and that kind of led to a little bit of an outbreak, 2-3 weeks. And we traveled, we played with 6 guys for a couple of weeks. And but you look at all over, I saw one of my former guys, Tyrese Halliburton, just tweeted one time, Adrian Wojnarowski, he's tweeting like it's trade deadline. You know what I mean? This guy's in protocol. This guy's got COVID. Then you look at your tweet, this game's canceled. Bowl game, UCLA just canceled their bowl game. It's all over. And I don't say it caught everybody off guard, but nobody saw this coming as intense as this is right now. College basketball is the best sport there is. It's what I love. It's my passion. And so hopefully we were able to continue to go forward healthy and play this season out.
Hey, Randolph, I've started polling a bunch of head coaches, just head coaches right now, of what they think we should do. Should we move forward, or should we take a 7 to 14 day pause? Again, for me, it's almost selfishly because right now it just doesn't feel good. The sport just feels like a shit show to me. You're trying to go through it. Mark Emmert's nowhere to be found. I joke that I saw him on the beach in San Juan the other day, sun tanning, bathing and drinking margaritas. But he may as well have been, because he's nowhere to be found right now. He's AWOL, and nobody's surprised by it. 2/3 of the coaches that I polled so far, and I polled over 50 so far, they say keep going, don't pause, and kind of fight through this. What do you say?
Well, the problem you have if you pause, and they're right, is if you pause, as soon as you start back up, it's going to continue again. And so I don't think it's going to save anything. And back to what we were talking about before, Steve was saying, last year it was pre-vaccination, and it was before we knew much about it. So now I'm curious as to what does it mean now when you're vaccinated? But some of it is, like I'll go back to a year ago with us, and for myself in particular. When I got it, some people get it and they're fine, right? Well, I vomited for a week. I couldn't eat or drink for a week. I had I had fever, all the symptoms. I lost taste and smell for the rest of the season. I didn't get my taste and smell back until April. The unfortunate part was I gave it to my wife and my daughter, and I nearly killed my wife. Like, my wife had pneumonia. Sick. Yeah, there were no beds. Put my wife in the hospital, took my wife to the hospital. There were no beds for her. They sent her home. I actually went to a hotel when I got diagnosed. And so without boring you guys with all the details, but those are the things that are happening. And I think those are the things that everyone's scared of if something happens to a player. That's really what this is about. It is, we rather slow a game, miss a game, because no one wants to be responsible for anything debilitating or long-term happening to one of their kids. That's just about liability. As much as we want to play, it's just about liability right now. Nobody wants to accept responsibility. There's not one university that's going to do it. That's why Mark Emmert can't step up and say anything, because just playing devil's advocate to it, if I had to answer it, that's just the reality of it. No one wants to come out and say it, but that's just the facts of it.
No, you're absolutely right. And one coach who has been affected by this, actually, second year in a row, is Stanford's Jared Haas. And he's going to join us here in a minute to tell us his story. He's still back right now in Hawaii, 3 days after 4 players and a manager were hit with positive test results in Hawaii at the Diamond Head Classic.
Wow.